Greetings to you all, friends and family. This particular time, I want to take a few minutes to just share a few words. We live at a time where that which is called abnormal, the bad news, has become normal. Not that it qualifies to be normal, but because the times that we live in, the terrorizing of this pandemic, the COVID-19, has made it to be so, where on a daily basis it has become common to hear of so many people being infected, to hear of so many people having died, and so many things that have actually led to anxieties and fear being that which we face on a daily basis. Therefore, life has ceased to be normal. And there are sentiments that over and over we have had to use, but probably we never understood the real meaning. Phrases like life is fragile, life is uncertain, you are only sure of life today or this very second, and yet not being sure of what will happen to you the next moment. These sentiments are coming out to be alive today, because the moment you miss your friend, even through these social media platforms, you just hear after a few days actually that him or her having been quiet, it's because they were admitted and they are normal. None amongst us can claim to be strong. None amongst us can claim to be a master of dealing with grief, dealing with sorrow, or dealing with anguish. And this is the reason why now it is no longer the way it was in terms of life. We are not sure of what happens. I borrow one saying from one of my colleagues that the greatest miracle we have today is that of just waking up the following day, because you are not sure. Now, these things are coming out to be the way they are today. Not that they were not in the very past. I mean the issue of life not being certain. Except that the frequency at which calamity, sickness, death, and everything are happening has increased. But the real issue is that life has always been uncertain. If there was a time that we needed to realize and actually think in the conclusive way that we are just but temporal on this earth, this is the time. I say so because the people we have lost are people we can call great people. We have lost our leaders. We have lost our friends. We have lost our clergymen. People whom we know that they have had influence over this life affairs in terms of the way things should happen. Of course, not all having control over the overall life. Now, we begin to think, if these people have been taken away, and when we put ourselves on the scale with them, even those people who pray, you begin to think, what prayer can I offer? that can be heard if the prayers that were offered for these who are now but gone could not be answered. It is not true that your prayer may not be answered. God does and allows things to happen in the way they happen in His own wisdom. And none among us can understand God to the fullest. It remains to be God. And some of the things He does and He allows to happen are the things that leave us with a lot of questions. And answers may not come forth today. And we will live to always ponder on them. I bring the word of encouragement this time, coming from the book of Psalms 121, where the psalmist cries in there, that I lifted mine eyes unto the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from God Almighty, the creator of the universe, the one who does not slumber, the one who does not sleep. My friends, God is still in control. We have had good moments we can call moments on the mountain. We praised and glorified God. We thanked Him. Now that we are in a situation we can call a valley of COVID-19, I want to tell you, just as it is written in Isaiah, when King Hezekiah died, when people were crying, questioning probably the existence of God, which is happening even in this time, questioning His care and His love towards us as His own children, Isaiah the prophet was shown that even in that time, God was still on the throne. So the God whom we have been with on the mountain, the time that we may refer to as good time, is the same God who is there even in this time of the valley. Let us not tire. Let us not give up. Let's do what we can humanly do in terms of the guidelines that we have been taught. The issue of masking up, keeping that social distance, using the hand sanitizers, and making sure that when we decide to move out of home, it's only when it is necessary. Yes, that is the time we live in, which is not very normal, because you are somewhat like kept to have your movements being limited. But if that's what we are to do, let's do that. Then leave everything to God. We continue praying, we continue asking Him, and in His own time, He will come to our rescue. Keep busy also. You need to be physical, exercise some here and there. Let your body be active so that your immunity may be hyped and may be kept constant and strong, so that we have the bodies ready to fight off some of these conditions. One thing I would not want to forget is that whilst COVID-19 is what has come out strongly against us, we dare not forget the existence of the other conditions that we have had. We have all the conditions, whether communicable or non-communicable conditions. So let's not throw away all those supportive activities or steps that we need to take against conditions, against conditions like hypertension, diabetes, and all these non-communicable diseases, and also the communicable diseases where we need to keep our environments clean, away from possible microorganisms that can ravage and indeed cause trouble upon us. When everything has been said and done, let's not be gloomy. Let's cheer up. Let's walk as people who are alive, even as we glorify and thank God for this life. Let's be jovial. Let's be happy. And let's not live apologetically because of what we have heard and what we have seen happening. The very fact that we are alive on that particular day, we need to lead that normal life so that we are not robbed of that which God had actually desired us to have as his own children. Have faith in him, continue praying, continue reading his word, continue doing that which you have been called to do in your own way to the latter, and everything will fall in place. We desire to have all of us continue being productive, doing that which we can do not only for our individual lives, but for our families. Not only for our families, but the society at large and our nations. That everyone should be blessed out of what we have in our hands as a talent. It's not time to start giving up. It's actually time to get deep into our thoughts and be able to see what we can bring out as solutions to what we have as problems. I always want to give an example of when a hen is quarantined, the time that it sits on its eggs to have them incubated is time that looks to be wasted. It's deprived of its comfort. Sometimes it doesn't have to eat the way it does, but for the sake of its eggs, it would rather sit there. And what seems to be a punishment, after those 21 days, the eggs hatch, and we see the joy that comes out of their chicks, a number of them coming out of the time that this hen was made actually to be enclosed, sitting on the eggs. This time of quarantine, this time when we are told to be more enclosed in our homes and only move when it matters, may be the time when we need to reflect on our lives and be able to see that which has been lying idle as the potential in our minds. Let's go deep in our thoughts. Let's go deep in our lives and be able to see that which we are gifted in. Could be talents. It could be the horizon in terms of expansion of what you usually do as your business. It could be that you want to think of what you haven't done before in your workplace. You are a professional holding a certain position, and yet you have been doing more of routine work, which has made you to be bored and sometimes losing interest in your work. This could be the time for you probably to go deep into that pocket of your potential and be able to come out strong, so that when this is over, or even if it is not over, by the end of the day, we will see a different character out of each and every individual. And all of us will add and put to the floor the things that would want to think should be done out of the God-given potentials that we have. And this world will be all different. Scientists, it's time for you to get deep, to sit on that research table. Do some research. You'll be surprised what will come out of there. I know it has been difficult really for people to come out with what may be called solutions, because many have had to be timid, fearing that probably they may be laughed at. Don't be swayed. Sit down, do that research, read widely, consult even amongst the old people, be able to see what remedies they might have used way back, and out of there probably we can come up with something. God himself is there to open up the minds for those who stage themselves to be ready to be the medium through which solutions to this world may be brought. Overall, we know that everything comes from above, and it's only when we look up to ask for those solutions that they will be poured upon us. I thought of sharing these words of encouragement and also making us not to be cocooned in the quarantine, but to think what else we can do within the same time when we are restricted in terms of movements. Because one day soon, the world will still open up. And finally, when it is opened up, what solutions are we going to bring on the table in terms of preventing the future occurrences? Or are we just going to come out the way we went into quarantine and we still come out without anything to put on the table? Let's continue reflecting. Let's continue being optimistic about the issue that we now face, and everything will be fine. I wish blessings to be upon each and every one of you, the families, and all the works of our hands. May God indeed continue to shine in our lives. Thank you.